I think Uber and the state of New York and everybody is ripping off the Uber passenger and the Uber driver. Let me show you my numbers from last week just to prove it. $2,781 is what the passenger paid. I only got 47% of the fare. Hi, my name is Levi, and I've been an Uber driver for a little over 5 years, and I've done almost 13,000 trips. I drive a Tesla Model X, and I'm here in Syracuse, New York. I've got a spreadsheet. I'm going to walk you through all these numbers. First, let me show you kind of what happened last week. So here's what I made last week. $1,657. I was basically online almost 50 hours. I was active during that time. That means either going to pick up a passenger or a passenger's in my car 37 of those hours. I did 68 trips, 1,300 in revenue, $326 in tips. So 1,657. Let me break that down a little bit more over here. You can see the same numbers here, but I did drive 1,763 miles, which is not good. I drove way too many miles. The truth is this, I live really far away from a lot of places to pick up passengers, so I have a lot of deadhead miles, but still, that's not very good. Let's show you my profit and loss for the week. $1,657 is what I made. My estimated fuel based upon 6 cents per mile is 105. My maintenance is about $70. That's tires for the most part, brakes. Depreciation, $264 in depreciation that week alone. That's like $1,000 a month in depreciation. Estimated tax, $88. So my estimated costs were $528. So my profit was more like $1,128. And if I were to take that, divide that by the total hours I was online, which was 49 hours online, I ended up making about $47,000 per year if I were to work a standard 40-hour work week and 52 weeks a year. So $47,000 a year. Not bad. But I had to work really hard for that. But again, I only got half. That's what this whole video is about, right? Take a look right here. $2,781 is what the passenger paid. I only got 47% of the fare. Uber got 28%. So Uber gets half, a quarter, of that. And so that's just really bad. I don't know. I did make a little bit more because I got $326 in tips. But look, the government got, it says 112, but that's not right. Look at this, commercial auto insurance and operational expenses, $496. And then we go to Uber's profitability. So the customer paid $2,081 and I got, again, 47% of that. That's the ripoff. And let me show you this government tax thing. This is why I don't think it's right. Take a look here. It says government tax and third-party fees were $112. The airport surcharge was $61. New York State benefits, $80. I probably get about 40 of that back, so that's a skim right there. So the TNC assessment is another tax from New York State. Black Car Fund, another tax, $63. So there's some taxes, but that 192 should probably come out of Uber's service fee because, again, I'm not paying it and the state of New York's not paying it. So where's that coming from? That's going to come out of Uber's service fee. So let's redo these numbers here again. All right. So the customer paid $2,781 minus their promotions and their tips. So $3,060 is what technically the customer paid in cash for all the Ubers that I gave. The distribution of that was 1,330 in fares, the tips, the 496. Here's all those fees. So you can see I balanced it. So 30/60, 30/60, we're good to go, balanced. Now let's break this distribution up again. So my earnings were actually 1,657, so right around 54% of what was paid. The Uber gross margin when you take out the reservation fee is 601. The commercial auto insurance, and I'm going to break this down for you here because commercial auto insurance and operating expenses, it says it's almost $500, but that's not exactly right. And I'll show you how I estimated this. And then the taxes at 305, 10%. So again, we're balancing 30/60, 30, 60, 30, 60. So we're all balanced. Boom, boom, boom. Let me show you I came up with this $373 in commercial auto insurance. Because the operating expenses, I tried to think, what are the operating expenses for Uber? And now an operating expense typically should be a direct cost, right? And so not an indirect cost. An indirect cost would be something like, um, labor, because Uber's programmers and software engineers are not a direct cost; they're an indirect cost. Rent, probably server fees and stuff like that. The only transactional fee, so every time a transaction takes place that I can think of, would be a credit card processing fee. So here's what I came up with at 122. A minimum credit card transaction fee, like a per transaction, on the high end would be 30 cents. There was 102 transactions. That's basically every time a fare came through, plus about 40% of my passengers tip me. So roughly 102 total transactions. So $30.60 in the transaction fee. And then there's typically a percentage charge on top of that. So 3% of the $3,000 is 91. So 122 is how I came up with that. So I took of the commercial auto insurance, let's go back here. Sorry about that. The 496, I broke it up into two things: commercial auto insurance and credit card transaction fees. And there you go, 373. So $373 is so much, I decided to ask ChatGPT if that was a good or bad commercial auto insurance rate. So I said, what would a commercial auto insurance policy charge as a taxi driver, 91,000 miles a year? Because that's basically what I drove if I were to take my $1,700, multiply it by 52. I just needed a rough range. And look at on the very high end. If I was in New York City, and I'm not, I'm in Syracuse, on the high end, it'd be 10 to 16,000. Upstate runs 10 to 15 less, so it'd be eight to $12,000 per year. Okay, it broke down the policies. I didn't really care too much about that, but basically somewhere between $550 to $900 per month is what it would basically be. So I said, well, do you think a $373 per week is good or bad for commercial auto insurance? And what would that be per year? They're like, it's $19,000 per year. Is that good or bad? It broke it all down. I'm not going to bore you with it, but bottom line, for a standard one car taxi policy in upstate New York, 373 a week looks steep. I'd shop for a few specialty livery carriers or an independent broker to see if you can land closer to that 500 to 900 per month range. So 373 is almost what it would cost per month that I'm paying per week in that for commercial auto insurance. That's the real problem. There you go. So I think that's pretty good definitive proof numbers data to show that Uber and the state of New York are skimming drivers and passengers. From the passenger standpoint, you could be paying less because the state of New York does not need to charge that much money for us to drop off and pick up at the airport. It does not need to charge that much to fund the coffers of who knows what. It doesn't need to charge that much to pay for some sort of sick leave that I don't want. I didn't even ask for it. They just charge you and then they take a little piece of that and then they give a little piece back to me. It's really, really bad. Second thing is Uber and commercial auto insurance. Something's broken inside of that. Do I mind Uber making 20% gross margin? Not really. That's like a 20% transaction fee. If you think about any other broker out there, let's say a real estate broker, was that 6%? I don't know what Airbnb charges. You definitely wouldn't want your investment broker taking that kind of money. But a 20% gross margin, that's high for a business. But they did create the market. They did put me and a driver together. That's great. But that commercial auto insurance, it's either A, way too much, or it's a slush fund. And they're taking money out of there. They're using that money as some sort of fungible type of thing. And that's wrong. It's either wrong from the commercial auto insurance that either the state of New York is forcing them to charge, or it's broken and it's bad. And it's taking money from me, the driver. Ultimately, I can go get a cheaper policy, but I can't. And that's really frustrating. It's ripping all of us off. And here's the bottom line. I'm the one doing all of the work. I'm the one acquiring the vehicle, making sure it's ready to go, cleaned, serviceable. I'm the one, and quite frankly, taking the risk, the danger risk of a car accident robberies and all this kind of stuff, taking passengers to and from places. It's on me. I'm the driver. Uber's not doing this. The commercial auto insurance isn't doing this. The state of New York isn't doing this. I am the one physically doing this. And passengers, you're getting ripped off, and it's costing me money too, and it needs to get fixed. I don't know. What do you guys think? Take a look at it. Go through my numbers if you want to. Again, watch the video. For drivers, hey, I want you to be safe, healthy, and happy, and drive your way in 2025. I'm cheering for you. Bye.